I'm here with Christelle Colman. She's the CEO of Elite Risk Acceptances. Christelle's someone I've known for a long time. She's someone we've done business with many times over the years. She always speaks her mind, and she lives a very authentic life. So I'm really pleased to have Christelle with us today in our latest Wealth Work video. So Christelle put out a tweet a few days ago, and I'm going to read it to you. It said, almost 3 years ago, I downgraded from a fancy merc to a tiny car, a second-hand Fiat 500. I've saved about 10,000 Rand per month. This has enabled me to travel overseas and buy nice things without any guilt. So think wisely about those status symbols. She also posted a cute pic with her little Fiat. Now, I think it's safe to say that that tweet went completely viral.
I still can't get over it.
2,500 retweets,
Yeah.
over 5,000 likes, and tons of comments.
Yeah.
So I think it was amazing, and I think it struck a chord somewhere. So I thought it would be a good idea for us to just chat about that today, a little bit more about that. So Christelle, again, thanks for being here. I guess what made you decide to post that tweet in the first place?
And the thing is, that tweet actually has got over 100,000 interactions. So it's very difficult for me to get my head around how people were like engaging around this topic. So it was Sunday afternoon, and I had a Facebook memory that came up. I bought the car about 3 years ago, and I was like, I saved about 10,000 Rand a month, and I made the calculation obviously over the 3-year period. And I just sort of marveled at the fact that at the time, it was quite tough because I come from quite a poor background, and I think not a lot of people know this about me, but a lot of people relate to that aspect, because when you come from nothing, one of the first things you do is you buy a nice car. And then you sort of get into that sort of, behavior of upgrading the car all the time, and you attach some value of who you are as a person to this status symbol. And when I decided to downgrade, or smart grade, like someone said on social media, I thought, what a clever way of saying this, to actually change my behavior around owning a vehicle. It gave me the sense of incredible freedom, because I could afford, maybe, I think it's relative, because actually I was spending so much money, it was such a waste of money.
Yeah.
But I could afford, according to the bank, to buy that expensive car. But making the choice to buy a much cheaper car. And so I bought a second-hand car. I didn't buy another new car, and I managed to negotiate a really good price on it. And the savings, well, it's not just the monthly contribution to the finance, but with insurance. So if your insurance gets rated on the size of your engine, so I got down to a 900cc little car, and the value of your car, so your insurance comes down substantially, your petrol comes down, everything together adds up to quite a substantial.
To 10,000, almost
Yeah.
10,000 Rand a month.
Yeah.
And were you surprised at the reaction it got?
I never expected it. I mean, if you think about it, I'm active on social media. It just started rolling on Sunday afternoon, and what surprised me was the fact that there was so much engagement. I'm very aware and almost scared of Twitter specifically, because there's some really nasty individuals out on that specific platform, and you can become a target quite quickly.
None of the readers here, right?
It's unbelievable. I had, out of the 100,000 interactions, maybe 1 or 2 negative comments.
I noticed that. I found it
Unbelievable.
absolutely incredible. And
Yeah.
people were so supportive of what you had done.
Yes.
Almost that they respected and looked up to the fact
mean,
that someone in
people-
your position
yeah.
was willing to be open about doing that and
Yeah.
okay with it.
Absolutely, and I think that's the message that I got as well. And some of the tweets that I got back were things like, "I'm actually going to such and such a dealership this afternoon to downgrade my car. Where were you when I was busy doing my degree and I didn't get?" They should teach these Twitter lessons at varsity for life lessons and things like that. And I think that's the problem, is that we get enticed into this very easy way of buying something that's very expensive, and then you're sort of locked in for 5 years, and you literally you battle to get out of it. And these people, many of these people feel like they're almost trapped in their situation. They would like to change, they would like to downgrade, but they can't, because they signed this contract 2 or 3 years ago. So the comments were things like, give us more advice on how to get out of it. How do I downgrade? Is the car safe? Which it is. It's a safe car. I would never put my own personal safety at risk or that of my kids. And also, did your life change? My life absolutely changed,
Yeah.
because I managed to free up a substantial amount of money. I mean, for me, that was it's not that I had all of that money just lying around. I had to make a conscious decision to actually smart grade my car and actually get access to that money. And what was funny, because in the beginning I was like, I'm going to travel overseas and I'm going to buy all these nice things, and then I got the money and I was like, I have to do something with this. I can't just spend it. So I completely rewired my way of thinking about money.
I actually did a quick calculation, and we need to think about the opportunity cost, not just the expense.
Yes.
So I worked out, if you had saved 10,000 Rand a month and invested that money for 5 years, which is kind of the length of period of time that you generally keep a car, and you earned about 8% a year, which is that's about okay for an investment return. You would have, after 5 years, you'd have over 700,000 Rand saved, of which 600,000 Rand is contributions and about 120,000 Rand is investment income. Now, over 10 years, if you did the same 10,000 Rand a month that you save at 8% return, you would have 1.8 million saved, of which 600,000 is investment income. So that's an incredible amount of money that you're foregoing just to drive around in a nice set of wheels, right? That's why do we do that?
I don't know. So I noticed that very senior people in business didn't drive expensive cars. They've got public transport, but even their car was a small car. So I thought, I'm just going to channel my inner sort of, Parisian and really make this big change. And I do drive the smallest, cheapest car in our, of all the people that I work with, for instance. And so it definitely is a change in behavior.
So besides a car, where else do you think are the easy wins for people?
I definitely think it's a combination of the car and insurance. So people don't understand, you don't just save the actual cost of the car, but the insurance implications if you downgrade to a smaller engine and if you've got a low value vehicle, you save substantially. I mean, my insurance premium saving was alone about 1,500 Rand a month. So that combination is very important. The other problem is that people are, when it comes to this car financing situation, because they don't really have the affordability or they can't negotiate the good interest rates, they go for very expensive HP packages with balloon payments, high interest rates. So they end up paying a lot more than what someone maybe who can access money in their bond to buy a car, cash, not really cash, but so you end up paying a lot more for the same vehicle that someone else is paying cash or financing it through a lower interest rate.
And then lastly, I think, Christelle, maybe what advice do you have for people who are feeling the pressure to keep up with the Joneses, in terms of what they drive?
So first and foremost, don't even go there. Start off by not buying the expensive car. Just try and save as much as you can on your car repayment. I know this is not going to go down well because it's really tough, but try and buy a car cash. There's incredible deals out there where you can actually negotiate and use your savings, use access bonds or that sort of way of financing, and try and buy the car cash, completely cash, or through a finance deal. And then at least you're free. You're not dependent on anyone, and you can get cars under warranty. That's the last thing that I would say is, if you are going to go for a second-hand car, try and buy a car that's still under warranty, that you don't actually have to. So that would normally be the first 5 years of most vehicle manufacturers, so that if your car does run into mechanical problems, that it is covered under the warranty. And then also don't worry about having 2 cars in a family. With the taxi services that we have nowadays, you can have 1 car in the family and 1 person maybe using Uber more regularly, or one of those services. So yes, that's definitely it.
Christelle, thanks so much. Again, such good advice from you as
but
always.
I must tell you what I did with the money.
What did you do with the money?
I came to the end of all of this and I thought, I can't spend this money. So then I realized the bank gave me HP on this amount of 10,000 Rand. They will definitely give me a bond. So that translates into about 1.1 million Rand bond. I found a friend. We bought an apartment in Cape Town, and we've got it up on Airbnb. So the Airbnb income is actually now paying for the bond repayment. So my gain has been not just investing in property, which has now substantially increased over the last 3 years, because CBD Cape Town, we've seen some good growth, but also I'm getting the rental income from the renting out the apartment. So the two, spending the 2 amounts are so far removed from just wasting it to actually creating wealth. And you can do that with 2,000 Rand a month. You can do it even with 500 Rand a month. Invest in something, whatever, invest in shares, put it in the bank, put it on a call account, buy retirement annuity, but rather save the money than put it in the car.
Fantastic. Wise words from a wise person. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot.